dice. Oh, we're going.
We are live.
Oh.
Welcome. Let's make sure we got everything up and running here. Yep, we are good. Welcome everybody to the very condensed version. We're going short form this week, boys. What's going on? There's no time for introductions, small talk. Ben, Nolan, I'm back from my trip. What's going on, guys?
So tell us all about your trip.
Get into the depths of your Vegas escapades, please.
I was in Vegas for about 5 days, survived, made it back. Let me give you the hour by hour rundown of my activities. No, sadly, no. That'll have to be for next week's show. Everyone will be really looking forward to those. You guys, we all had the Bears last week. Ben, anytime we're all on the same team, it's just a disaster. What happened? Let's quickly talk about it, and then we'll fire through this week.
Yeah, I mean, what happened was Mitch Trubisky happened, just god awful. I have shorted the Saints unsuccessfully for weeks now. It's been one of my leaks in the NFL, which has made it tough, but I start every Sunday on a high note because college football has been fantastic. So hope to keep that going and then get some traction with the pros this week.
Yeah, Nolan, how you doing this week?
Hey, Ben bailed me out with his Oregon bet last week, so I'm just going to continue to ride whatever Ben tells me to do for college.
What a game. Just finally got, I have been on them a lot, and that was a game that I don't know if they deserve to win, but man, did they play tough and hang tough. So nothing wrong with that. We're going to dive into it, and I certainly have, we're not going to go super in depth this week. I have articles posted breaking down everything for college football tomorrow from both DFS and betting. So go check that out in Slack, and it's up on the website as well.
Yeah, make sure to check those out. We'll be in Slack talking about our picks because, like you said, we are going to have to fire through this pretty quickly because we have Nolan and the boss man, Alex, coming up in about 15 minutes or so with the Yahoo NFL Strategy Show. So we want to make sure we get to them on time. So who actually is going to go first? Do you want me to just take the first pick here and we can just fire through this?
I hope we're all not on the same page here today.
No, we're not. I do want to say real quick, we all survived last night with the Vikings.
Yeah.
For Survivor, which was nice. So
we got that out of the way. I think I'm in a Survivor pool, and I thought I was being maybe a little sneaky taking the Thursday nighter, but of the 68 people left, 59 of them took the Vikings. So
and the rest are probably waiting to Monday to take the Steelers, most likely.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, Nolan, were you sweating that game? I mean, that was a pretty interesting game. Interesting in that it was absolutely boring as can be. If Keenum doesn't get hurt, I don't know. I think that game is pretty close. It was pretty close as it is.
I think it's probably a field goal game if he doesn't get hurt. But I don't know. I didn't watch it too closely. I just had it on the background, so I can't.
You didn't miss anything.
I was watching more of the Pistons Hawks game than that football game, so that says all you need to know.
I watched SMU in Houston, so that should once again.
That's even better, man.
SMU, for sure.
No team in college football.
Yep, that's right. That's right. I was going to give you this great stat that I saw. I don't know if we have time. I'm going to do it really, really quickly. Kirk Cousins' first 8 games of the season. Have you guys seen this stat? So they played half of their season already after last night. His completion percentage, 72.1, yards per attempt, 9.3. TD to INT ratio is 4.3, passer rating 115.2. All 4 of those categories better than Mahomes last year. Boom, Kirk Cousins MVP.
Look at that. Yeah, Mahomes is just, apparently he's Superman because he's coming back, but we'll see. The Vikings, again, we are pressed for time here, but I will say they are quietly, I feel like, really a threat in the NFC. Them and Green Bay going to be battling it out for the North.
Yeah, that's for sure. The Bears in a tough position. Okay, let's get into the picks. I might as well go first. My first pick, I've ridden this team, I think at least 2 or 3 times on this show, and that's Carolina. They're going to San Francisco, which is not a spot that I typically would be targeting, but I think they're undervalued this week, and San Francisco's overvalued, which is something I'm always looking for. Carolina is coming off of a bye. San Francisco is coming off of a win in essentially a monsoon against the Redskins where they put up 9 points. People are going to look to that game, but I think more looking to the Rams blowout from 2 weeks ago. And I just don't think the San Francisco, I know they haven't played anybody outside of the Rams. They have the second easiest strength of schedule versus opponents of any team in the NFC. Like I said, the Panthers have won 4 straight games. They're coming off a bye. They're getting Trey Turner back from injury as guard. I got a bunch of other stats that I'm going to just hold off on. What do you guys think about Carolina on the road here? Can Kyle Allen go into SF and get a win?
I wouldn't say that, I don't know if I'm confident of them winning, but I looked at this game pretty hard. I'm actually going to take the under in this for one of my picks. But I was pretty. I like the Carolina side of this one as well. Plus 5.5. Is that what we're at?
Yep.
So, yeah, 2 pretty slow-paced teams. I think this one's tight. I think like it's going to be decided by a field goal, I'm guessing. So 5.5 seems a little bit high to me, especially with Carolina coming off a bye, and just I think like the low total and the tightness of this game as well. Like San Fran flying across country, so offense didn't look great last week. There's just like a number of factors here that would lead me towards the Carolina side of this one too.
I'm not touching it personally. San Francisco is a team. Clearly they've been impressive. I've shorted them in spots actually. Last week it worked out fine. I had the Redskins and they covered in bizarro fashion. It always works when the other team doesn't score enough to literally cover the spread at all. Even though Skins put up 0 points, it was good enough. So not touching it, but yeah, I totally see the merit coming off the bye. Kyle Allen, I think we've all said he might be an improvement over Cam Newton at this point. So no problem rolling with the Panthers there.
I think so too. I think this is the first game. We've talked about the injuries that the Niners have on their offensive line, and then with Kyle Juszczyk. I think this is the first time that's actually going to hamper them. The Panthers do get after the quarterback. Jimmy G has been a little careless with the ball. If they can't just run the ball 50 times, I think they're going to have a much harder time against Carolina. So Nolan, is your first pick then going to be the under in that game?
Yeah, so I can take that one as my first pick. I just thought we have a situation where I think both of these teams are going to want to run the ball. We have 2 really good secondaries, both ranked top 5 in coverage according to PFF grades. 2 of the slower teams. San Fran does run a lot of plays, but they're still 2 of the slower paced teams. I think this. I'm going with the under here. I think the 49ers have Quan Alexander that can possibly one of the only linebackers in the league that might be able to cover Christian McCaffrey. I don't know. We'll see. But give me the under here. I like your pick though too. May end up teasing the or parlaying the Carolina plus 5.5 and the under here. I feel like those 2 would dovetail pretty well together.
So I'm seeing 42. So we'll put you down for under 42 in that game.
Yeah.
Ben, first pick.
Texans minus 6.5 at home. Lost a key game against the Colts last week. We know the offense is, Deshaun Watson, fantastic. And now they are at home against an Oakland team. I don't want to say they were exposed last week, just in the sense that I wasn't surprised to see a team like the Packers gash them. Of course, in the way that Rodgers did it was a little crazy. He just went nuclear. But I think the secondary is worn down. Oakland cannot generate a pass rush. And now they go into Houston. It's just a bad spot for them. So I think Hopkins, Watson just control this game. Oakland, I don't think, can really score enough to keep up with the Texans. 6.5, good number as well.
Yeah, I looked at that one too. I kind of like that call.
Oakland is just, I know, Jordan, you always back Oakland because you're sick. Are you against me here once again?
It's not one of my picks. I don't know. I don't love this spot for Oakland, but I do kind of see the one thing with Oakland is that game last week really got away from them relatively quickly. I don't think it was as much of a blowout as people thought it was against the Packers. Obviously, we're relying on Derek Carr. He had that horrible fumble near the end of the second quarter again, which the Packers took and immediately went down the field with a minute left or something and scored a touchdown. So you had this crazy 14-point swing that really changed the outcome of that game. If I can get a full touchdown, that's a different story. So if you're only laying 6.5, then I'm a lot more comfortable with Houston because I do think it's almost a must-win spot here for Houston, especially after that disappointing loss last week, like you said. So I'm not against it. If I was getting a higher number, I would definitely look more to Oakland.
Mm-hmm. And Josh Jacobs, Tyrell Williams, both questionable.
Yeah, I need to see that. Yeah,
they definitely need them. So I'll lock it in. Like I said, where we're looking at our picks at 6.5, which is certainly piqued my interest. I see 7 at some other places, which that's a totally different conversation.
Yeah, for sure. It's all about shopping the numbers. We've talked about that before. We're looking at a source that has 6.5. So boom, let's lock that in for you.
All right. Am I snaking it? Do I just go right back at it here?
Yeah, might as well.
Sticking in the AFC South, Ryan Tannehill led Titans. Another good number, -2.5 at home against Tampa. Tampa's Jekyll and Hyde. They're coming off a bye. Jameis, when he doesn't turn the ball over like 8 times, they're pretty effective. But at the same time, I actually thought that Tannehill unlocked some of this passing game with Corey Davis. They have some other weapons, A.J. Brown. We know that Tampa's a funnel defense. They're going to try to stop the run. So if Tannehill and these receivers can be like they were last week, they won a miracle game. I'm not denying that. But at the same time, I think this is an easier spot at home. So I will lay the 2.5 with the Titans.
Nolan, what do you think about that? That is a game that I looked at very closely too. Nolan, curious what your thoughts were on that Tennessee Tampa Bay game.
I guess I just I just because it was on the under that 3 number, I was thinking about it as well.
Mm-hmm.
That's appealing there. I don't know that I can go all in on Tannehill. I actually kind of like this Bucs team a little bit, so I'm just off this one. I don't really have a good read. Bucs coming off a bye as well. I do like this one for fantasy though. I feel like I'm curious what the ownership's going to be like for Tannehill and Brown Davis, because if it's low, I don't think it's going to catch anyone off guard. But if it's lower than it's good, then I actually like game stacking this one up a little bit, maybe bring it back to Godwin and Evans. But yeah.
That's the thing with Tampa, right? Like you can't run the ball against them, so Tennessee is going to be one-dimensional.
Yep.
You would think, and if anybody can take advantage of that, I don't know if it's Ryan Tannehill, but I think he can take advantage more than Mariota could have. And like you said, Ben, he did unlock a little bit with A.J. Brown and Corey Davis last week.
He did, yeah.
So we can throw the ball against Tampa. I think it's going to be a pretty high-scoring game. I did look at that total as well because I do like Tennessee's defense in general, but Tampa Bay, like you said, if Jameis can play one of those in-control games, not turn it over, I mean, if you could predict that, we would be very rich men. But if he can play one of those games, he's going to put up a ton of points. We've seen it against the Rams that put up a ton of points. He's had these games where he just looks invincible, and then he'll come back like 2 weeks ago in London and just put up an absolute stinker and just looked absolutely horrible. Yeah. So really, I just don't know which Jameis we're getting. How do you know?
You don't.
We won't know until game day. All right, I gotta go. I guess we gotta speed up here. I'm gonna go. This is my second pick.
Yep.
Your second pick.
I will take the Eagles plus 1.5 at the Bills. Going back to the well, took the Eagles last week. Could not understand why that line was +3. I thought it was crazy. Turns out I was very wrong on that. It was an absolute blowout. I was so shocked by that game. So, but I'm going back to the well here. Eagles at the Bills. The Bills, I feel like, are a little bit pretenders. I think they're a little bit overrated. The teams they've beaten so far: the Jets, Giants, Bengals, Titans, Dolphins. 5 teams with a combined record of 6-27. Eagles are still, I think, a good team. They beat the Packers. There's some reverse line movement on this one as well. 46% of the bets, 63% of the money. So give me the Eagles. Give me the 1.5 points, although I'd probably just bet them straight up.
Yeah, Ben, I don't want to besmirch your Bills and Josh Allen, but what do you think?
Tough game. I'm staying away, but I tend to side with Nolan, as much as that pains me, because I really do like this Bills team. I just haven't. Their defense is good, but at the same time, I expect Wentz to be able to move the ball, and I just don't know if the Bills, they're clearly not as good as their record indicates. I think we all know that. A desperate Eagles team, tough spot, but with a virtual pick 'em, I kind of lean towards Philly as well.
Yeah, that's another team where you really dig into their strength of schedule with the Bills, and man, they really struggled with Miami last week. I mean, you don't realize. I don't know if you saw how they didn't cover, but they got from 3 to 10, and that basically the last play of the game was they returned the onside kick for a touchdown. If that doesn't happen, the Bills squeak by, and I think the line is slightly lower after having such a poor performance against the Dolphins last week. So yeah, that's a spot that I definitely like the Eagles. I had the Eagles last week too. I got burned really badly by them. Just want to try to forget that game last week.
Yeah. All right. Yeah. So Jordan, your second, right?
My second pick here. We'll zoom through. I'm going with the total. I very rarely play totals, or at least picks on here with totals. And I'm taking an under, so I'm locked in right now at 41 with the Bears and the Chargers under 41. This is a play really against both teams. They both play really slowly, which always helps with a lower total. The Chargers are the second slowest team. The Bears are the sixth or seventh slowest team as far as pace. The Bears are really, I think, going to just take the ball out of Trubisky's hands after last week, which means David Montgomery, they're just going to pound it. It's going to take a lot of time. The Chargers aren't really going to do well against the Bears defense. Got some other stats. But basically what I see here is a very slow-paced game. I think both teams are really going to try to run the ball. The Chargers are going to struggle against the Bears defense, even though the Bears defense, man, they really hurt us last week. Like we said, we all had the Bears last week. I kind of wanted to take the Bears here, but I just didn't have the mental or I guess intestinal fortitude to take them again. But I'm going to go under in that game.
They just, that offense is awful. So it's hard to argue at all. Just terrible.
Absolutely terrible. So I just hope they don't put their defense in horrible positions. Both teams could do it, and that's the risk when you're backing at least the Bears with a pretty pitiful offense. The Bears are the only team in the NFL that have not had a game with over 300 yards of offense.
That's crazy. I don't know what happened to them. I feel like they've just regressed so much this year. But what are you going to do? I like that call, though. I like it.
Trubisky. I really think it's all Trubisky. I mean, the defense has regressed a little bit, but when you have zero faith in a quarterback, man, it just really trickles down into every phase.
Yeah. Seriously.
Okay, let me give my third pick real quickly. I vacillated. I wanted to take. I always like to take big underdogs. I was debating between Miami and Cleveland, and I went with Cleveland. So I'm going to take Cleveland getting 13 points against the vaunted Patriots. This is also kind of, in my opinion, a little bit of a overreaction, or at least too many points for a team that, look, they're not playing well, and Baker has been horrible and has burned us all before. They're coming off a bye. The Pats are on a short week. The Pats look like world beaters. They haven't really played anybody. You just look at their strength of schedule. It's off the charts. I mean, the defense has been destroying a lot of very poor quarterbacks. Now, Baker might be the next poor quarterback in line, but I like just getting that many points. It's just too many against a team that has as much talent as the Browns do. They'll probably lose by 30 and I'll look like an idiot, but I'm gonna try and go with the Cleveland getting 13.
I was looking at that one too, and just the Patriots schedule so far, it's been so weak. And Browns coming off a bye.
Yep.
Yeah. So Browns coming off a bye. This is the first time they've actually had to. Pats have actually had to play someone, I think, this year. So I'm with you there. We only got 2 minutes left. I'll give you my final pick. I'm going to take the I don't know what the line is now, if it's +4 or +3.5, but I don't really care. But I'll take the Chiefs at home to the Packers with my boy Matt Moore. I think Andy Reid has a few 10 days to game plan here against the Packers. The public's going to be heavily on the Packers after seeing them destroy Oakland. I'll take the 3.5 points here. This is just a bit of a gut feel because we don't really know what this team's going to look like. But he's surrounded with enough weapons, I think, to make Moore look at least halfway decent. Sammy Watkins looks like he's back. Drew Hill's coming back from injury and probably close to fully healthy now. So Chiefs have enough weapons. I like the side of this one. We got like two. Are we done all of our picks? Is that it?
My last one is easy. It's the Browns. I am with Jordan.
Oh, boy.
I really like the spot. They're in my article, which is available on the site. Go check that out. I go into detail about both teams, but he summed it up nicely. They are coming off a bye. They are going to 2-5 if they lose this game. And I'm not saying that they win the game, but I am saying that they come out as desperate as a team can be against a Patriots team that maybe this defense is historically good, or maybe they've played the Jets twice, the Redskins, the Dolphins, the Bills, and the Steelers. It's one of those two. We'll find out on Sunday. So, Eileen, give me almost 2 touchdowns, and I will take that every time.
Nice. I like it. I can't argue with that. Well, boys, we made it as quickly as we could. We'll hand it over to you, Nolan. You're going to be on the NFL Yahoo Strategy Show with
Chris Randone. Alex is away at a wedding this weekend. He's busy today, so we're going to. It's going to be Chris Randone I'm going to get some some bachelor tips from him as well. He's
Nice.
pretty good football expert there. Ben, you got any final quick college football picks?
I like Ohio State tomorrow.
Yeah.
I think they roll Wisconsin, and I'm going to give you a wild one. UMass, the worst team possibly in the country. They are a 10-point underdog at home against a UConn team that legitimately hasn't beat a Division I FBS school in a couple years. So I will take points in a game like that. But if you want all the breakdown, like I said, stop by the site, sign up. We're talking in there in Slack all the time. It's going to be a really fun Saturday.
EV Analytics, shout out.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. Presenting sponsor. Thank you, EV Analytics. And we will be back next week, hopefully with a little bit more time to dive in. But in the meantime, good luck, everybody. Have a great weekend.